Are you ready for me to call Marcus?
Might as well call him, yes, please.
Hello, Marcus. This is Wanda. Are you ready for the meeting? Okay, I'll put you on speaker for one moment, please. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All righty.
I think Melissa is just pulling up.
Ah, okay. Well, we'll give her a minute or two. It is 6 right now. Howdy. So we will open the meeting, and it is officially open at 6:01 p.m. We are going to do the Pledge of Allegiance, but before we do that, I want to mention immediately after the Pledge of Allegiance and before the approval of the agenda, we're going to take a moment, and the council will move over here to this corner, and Gordon would like to take a photo. So, everybody smile underneath your masks. And it'll be fine. If we could, please arise to say the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Gather up over here. Yeah, so we're kind of by the flag, I assume.
Masks are fine.
Yeah, we'll just keep masks on.
Yes.
I mean, we gotta get close enough to be, yeah.
And you want,
Oh,
if you want me in there.
please, we won't knock that.
Someone.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sam?
Okay, we'll take at least two. Here's the first one. 1, 2, and 3. And then one in the middle. 1, 2, and 3. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you for that. And we will now move on to number 3, the approval of the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Motion was made by Melissa and seconded by Dave to approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we're going to do a roll call vote. Linda, yes.
Sorry, as I mentioned before council, we may need to move executive session around and discuss the contract with Banner either before or after Ms. Miller makes her presentation.
Okay, so,
We might need an executive session in between A and B of 5 is what I'm trying to say.
okay. So then in that case, we have a current motion on the floor. If that is necessary, I would say that it would be in our best interest to vote against that motion and remove.
Mr. Mayor, I'd amend the motion to include an executive session A1 of 5.
I'll second.
Okay, well then we will vote on that amendment. We've got Dave making the motion and Melissa seconding an amendment to the motion that is on the floor to include an executive session for contractual reasons between 5A and 5B. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Linda, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Marcus?
Aye.
Darla?
Aye.
And Melissa?
Aye.
5 yes. Okay, then we will move on the approval of the agenda, or excuse me, we'll vote on the motion of the approval of the agenda with that amendment. Is there any discussion at this time? Hearing none. Linda, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Marcus?
Aye.
Darla?
Aye.
And Melissa?
Aye.
5 yes. All right. Agenda approved. We'll move on to public input.
I have public input. A couple questions. First, the wheel loader. We bought that for somewhere around $39,500. We bought a blade for it for another 6 or 7. And I'm looking here at a cost to repair the thing at $12,629. It almost looks like we're throwing good money after bad on that. The other question I have is direct deposit of paychecks, is that available?
No.
No, okay. I have a thing, it almost seems like it's cheaper for the city to do direct deposit. Here's the information. This is if the information I just gave you is how to set it up. Okay? That's all I have.
Was that a question?
Yep.
What was your first question?
Oh, the first question was the wheel loader. It seemed like the cost to repair it is throwing good money after bad. That, again, the value is almost half, or no, it's more than half to fix it, and I'm wondering why. I don't have a date on when we got that. I think it was somewhere around 2018 or so.
2016.
2016.
Okay.
Have we paid off that bond yet?
The equipment-
Or that loan?
the wheel loader loan is paid, yes.
Okay.
That was last year, it's paid off.
How old is it? The loader itself?
20 years. It's a 2000.
So it's either 12,000 to fix it or 100,000 to buy a new one, or?
Right.
Well, and 100,000 probably wouldn't touch a new one, but,
When it went in.
Newer.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
When it went in for repair, it wasn't, the things that we asked to have it repaired initially, once they got in there, they found more. And it was effective to continue the rest of the repairs while it was apart, than to haul it back down to Sioux City, pay freight, and to continue with the repairs. But
Mr. Mayor, there's going to be discussion of this later. Can we defer this until number 9?
Certainly.
Get on to 5?
Certainly. Before we go on with number 5, is there any other public input? Yes?
Yes, I'm Don Drown. I've lived in this town for 50 years. and I can't think of a better place I'd rather live. But what I'm seeing when I come into town, we used to have a sense of pride in our city. And right now, I see a lot of junk sitting around in front of our houses. We got a manure spreader welcoming us as we come into town. And, you know, our streets are atrocious.
Oh, yeah.
I think we're paying a tax on for street repair. I noticed a pothole filled right at the end of Union Street, which is fine, but 4 foot over, there's 3 more, nothing else. And I'm wondering where this money is going. Or is we saving this up to put a new parking lot and a golf course, or are we gonna fix our streets?
Well, we are gonna fix our streets. As a matter of fact, I don't know how long you can stay, but you're about to hear Banner Engineering representative Tanya Miller tell us a little bit more about the sewer treatment plant renovations that we're doing. Some of that money is going to go toward replacing infrastructure, the sewer underneath roads, which is why a lot of the roads were let alone or minimal maintenance done on them, because why would we fix something to the nth degree and then tear it all out to put new sewer underneath? So we're in the process of doing that right now, and I know everybody thinks that they're being taxed a lot, and I feel the same way. I'm being taxed as well, but the money is not being spent. Some of it is being spent to keep things going until we get to the point where we actually can do it completely.
Okay, now, do we have ordinances in this town about keeping our places looking halfway decent, junk cars?
Oh, absolutely.
Why ain't there some bite in them?
That's a good question.
You know, we put in an ordinance, and if it ain't got no teeth, you might just well throw it out the window.
Sam, do you want to answer that about cars?
Yeah, I think, off the top of my head, I think we've got, doesn't our ordinance say that we've got
Right.
You can't
but
be sitting there and
we're
then-
told we can't touch them if they're on
private property?
private property.
Yeah. Our ordinance says you gotta have it over a gravel or a compacted surface or what I'm gonna call a regular driveway. And I forget the where or the why, but there's only so much we can do if it's on the private property. We can't go up and move. If they're not licensed or tagged, that I think can be a municipal ordinance violation, but it might be something else too. I'm sorry, I don't have all that info off the top of my head.
But I do know, especially in my neighborhood, I have a car sitting behind the house with the front end smashed up, and I don't want to look at that thing all summer.
I feel your pain there, Mr. Brown. I think just about every square block in town has a yard or property that could be spruced up.
Yeah, well, you know, we used to have some city pride here in downtown, but it's just gone.
Don, I don't know the answer to this, but have you contacted the city office and said, hey, you know, at 1, 2, 3, 4 5th Street, here's what I'm seeing and here's how long it's been there? Have you done that?
Numerous times.
Okay. I encourage you to keep doing that even if it sounds like it's not getting anywhere, because what it does is it establishes a timeline for us that's coming from somebody other than the city and somebody other than our code enforcement guy, saying, hey, I live here, I look at this problem every day, and it's been here for 6, 8, 9 months now, and I've contacted the city this many times. And then if we get to a situation where we have to do a notice and order and it spirals out of control, which it sometimes will, and we end up going to court, I'm going to subpoena you as a witness and have you come in and tell the judge what you've seen and what an awful mess it is. And you know, your word's probably pretty good up there. So I understand it feels like you might not be getting somewhere, but I'd encourage you to, you know, keep a log and keep us informed.
Okay, that's all I really have.
Is this your feelings, this been through town recently?
Yes.
Is
Thanks,
he
Don.
coming up with the same
Another meeting to go to.
type of?
We really do appreciate the input regarding, I mean, we need more of this. And one of the things that I would like to appeal to every citizen of Alcester, talk to your alderman, talk to the mayor, if that's what you'd like to do too. I don't have any problem with that. Contact any one of us. And if you don't necessarily feel right visiting with your alderman, talk to another alderman or the mayor, like I said.
Yeah.
It's a lot better than just sitting at coffee and allowing things like this to keep festering and causing even more.
You keep complaining, it just grows out of hand and then you get nothing.
Exactly. And I think that if we can get some dialogue going that's, proactive dialogue, I think we can see some good things happen.
I always said it's best to go to the horse's head and not the other end.
If I may respond to that, do we have forms, complaint forms that Mr. Drown could fill out? There should be complaint forms. I've provided some, my own personal ones, but,
The city has their own.
okay.
That wouldn't have been a bad idea.
Are those on the website?
No, but I can put them on.
That'd be a good idea too.
So if this vehicle he's talking about is not licensed, then we can do something about it, right? If it's not tagged?
That would be a question for the police.
Because I don't think it runs.
I'm certain that it does not.
Yeah.
So the car thing is police, it's not filling this? Is it, or can it be one or the other, or both, or?
I have exhausted avenues in this regard, and I have been told there's nothing that can be done. So, I don't know what else to do. I mean, I've tried. I've sent the letters, contacted the owners, but I don't have the support of legal. So I don't know what else to tell you.
And he already left, all right, so,
Yeah, we had another meeting.
okay.
Is there any other public input tonight?
I had one, a request that next year when we do the garbage from Fisher, that it's released when the roads are released. So the roads are now free to go on without frost, why can't the garbage?
You mean like the signs that you see like on the
Yeah,
county
you
roads
can't,
with the?
yeah, now
weight
frost is out, so people can go on roads.
Yeah, all the load limits are off, so they
So
should
why
be
are
able
we
to-
still doing garbage?
On both sides, we should be able to do both
Yeah.
sides of the street.
Right.
It's a good point.
And in our street, you gotta go down the street, and I think people are getting tired of it, so.
Yeah, carrying it all the way down the end of the street, yeah.
So
To this day, I still have not ever heard a complaint. Have you ever heard somebody from work?
No, I
calling?
haven't, but my feeling on that is, I think we should have it all on one side every time. I don't care if you do it one year, one way, or the other. That would save a lot on our streets, because we wouldn't
Absolutely.
have the garbage truck going through twice.
And actually, Lauren would love it if we
Well, I'm
did
sure
that,
he would.
because it saves him
And-
time as well.
And I get that people don't want to have to take it across, I get that.
Right.
With, because I'm getting there in that age group, so, but still, then switch it back and forth or something, so that it's not always the same. I don't have any problem with it, I just think it would save our streets.
I agree, if that's the goal.
That's what I thought part of it was, to save the streets, isn't it? And our streets are bad anyway.
Absolutely.
That's just my feeling.
So Darla, the only downside to your patron's comment is we set that schedule while there's still snow on the ground. We don't know when the frost is gonna come out. So we feel pretty safe by saying middle of May, the frost should be on the ground and the roads should be back to normal. So that is the reason why we push it a little longer. We don't know when load limits are gonna come off.
Right, but I think their point was when the load limit's off, and the
Right.
garbage should be off, whatever that would be. But I have no idea the load limits are off, but that's what I was told.
I guess I had one quick thing. I've noticed on the interstate, there's a sign up for the quilt shop in town,
Yep.
the billboard. I thought that looked really nice.
Yes.
and I know I've brought this up before, and now my time here is up, but I just want to put, hopefully just a bug in the ear for whoever the next budget committee is, to maybe set some money aside to get a billboard, advertise.
There's already 2 in the works. We're gonna replace the one that's down here on the corner of 13 and Highway 11. And we're gonna replace the one that's on the 4-way on 46 and 11.
I mean,
But she's
advertising.
actually talking about on the
On the
interstate.
Oh,
interstate.
on the interstate, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you wanted the 2 signs here replaced.
No, I'm talking about advertising for our,
Yeah, because,
our industrial
yes.
district.
Okay.
Mhm. Good idea.
That is a good idea. Wonder how much that would cost. We'll have to look into that.
A
I
lot
figured
of
if the
money.
quilt shop can afford it, there's no
That's
reason
what I
why
would
the
say too. yeah.
city shouldn't be able to afford it.
Yeah. Is there any other public input? All right, hearing none. We will move on to number 5, wastewater facility. And Tanya?
Good evening, everybody.
How are you?
Good, how are you all doing? Good. Good. I'll just briefly go through the contract and a little bit of what's included in the scope, if that's all right. So what's before you tonight is an agreement for engineering services, and it covers kind of 3 to 4 areas. The first is the design of the proposed improvements, and so that's where we engineers would come down and meet with the city both initially at the 50% level and at the 90% level. And that would be to be putting plans and specifications together, or the bidding documents for the project down at the wastewater treatment facility. This would be the first phase of proposed improvements, and it's this first phase that's included in tonight's contract. The second phase would be to do the collection system improvements. And so that would be about a year or so down the road when we would come before you with a contract for that. So just want to be clear, this is for the phase of the wastewater plant. It also includes then bidding phase services, which would be where Banner would place the plans and specifications on our website and advertise them to bidders. They go out to plan rooms as well, where contractors will see them. We would then be present at the bid opening and run that, and then present the results to the city, so the city could decide if they want to award the bid. If the bid's awarded and the city enters into a contract with a contractor, we would then be present for the construction administration and observation, and that's also in tonight's contract. We would have meetings regularly with the city and the contractor throughout the construction process to verify that the contractor's following the plans and specifications and what's being performed in the work and the construction. And then we also have what we call a field project representative, or a resident project representative, so somebody that would be down here part-time while the contractor's working, kind of verifying that they're following what's in the plans and specifications. In other words, the material being used is what's specified and correct. So that's the parts of the contract. The work that this entails would be several areas of the wastewater treatment plant. One being the equalization lift station. That lift station needs to be lined. It needs new pumps in it. They're aging. That equalization.
I'm sorry, you're cutting in and out for me. Is it possible to position yourself closer to the phone?
Yep, we'll move it closer. Hang on, Marcus.
Thank you, sorry about that.
That's all right.
I still think we need, like, get a picture of Marcus on
Yeah,
it.
that'd be
Do you
good.
need me to repeat anything, Marcus? Is there anything that you wanted clarification on or couldn't hear?
No, I think I was getting most of it, but then you just started cutting in and out right there. So I was
Okay.
like, oh, I would fix that before I
right.
missed anything.
And I think it's because I started to look down to look at my notes, so I'm glad you're closer. So the various areas that are going to be addressed in the wastewater treatment facility improvements is the equalization lift station where the pumps are wearing out, the wet well needs to be lined. And then the equalization blower, there's a kind of structure there with a blower that puts air into that equalization basin when it's used and keeps that wastewater fresh. That is wearing out and needs to be replaced. And then kind of the other bigger issues are the fact that there's only one aeration basin. And so in order to replace the equipment, then it needs to be taken out of service. there's no redundant place to direct the water to while that's being done. And so only having one basin makes it very difficult to keep up with maintenance and any necessary repairs. And in addition to that, the existing aeration basin is undersized. So it only makes sense to add another aeration basin and size it large enough so you've got some redundancy so you can complete equipment maintenance in the future when you need to. And then the last issue is some of the flooding that's occurred at the site, where the operations area where the main electrical gear is housed and the intermediate wet well is flooded. And so the thought is to make use of that existing garage structure that's up on the hill and move the electrical controls and the operations up into that existing building. And so to do some renovations to make that a little more habitable instead of right now it's just an unheated concrete block building. So, and then finally the last area of improvements is with the chlorine contact tank. The equipment in that room is wearing out quite a bit and the city is spending quite a bit of money on the chemical. And equipment needs to be replaced anyway, so we're recommending to replace it with a new UV disinfectant system, which will not require chemical, it just requires power, and so it should save the money in chemical costs that way for the city. So that is a brief summary of the contract. Does the city have any questions at all on the project or the contract that I could answer? Yes.
Tanya, when you're replacing this chlorine basin with a UV disinfectant system, what's the life expectancy of that?
Typically, we say most equipment's gonna last about 20 years. And that's, that would be typical for any equipment of that. So I would say around 20 years would be a typical life expectancy. During that time, that is a piece of equipment, you will need to replace bulbs. So if you want to think about it as an equivalent for chemicals, you do replace bulbs once in a while, that's part of the maintenance cost. We figured that in when doing the comparison, so we looked at that. It still will be cheaper to use UV. But hopefully, that answered your question. Anything I mentioned, like the blowers for the equalization basin, the pumps, things like that, they usually have anywhere from if it's a very harsh environment because it's wastewater, it can be as little as 10 years, but hopefully 20. And the challenge right now is there's a lot of equipment down there that's nearing that 20-year age. There's a lot of equipment that's wearing out.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Have you had trouble getting any of these things?
That's an excellent question right now. Yes, and I wish I could tell you that it's getting better, but it's actually right now, I would say it's either worse or peaking. We've had instances where it used to take maybe 12 to 14 weeks to get equipment in. Once we get to the stage of we've reviewed submittals, they kind of provide submittals showing us what they're going to provide. We review those, make sure they comply with the specs. And once, we authorize it and they place the order, 12 to 14 weeks is typical. We're seeing 26 weeks on some equipment.
Yeah.
And so that's where we're going to have to see as we move through design where things are at for timeline, and we may need to adjust the completion date. The other thing I'll just prep council for right now is bid prices have been coming in extremely high. We're hoping it's a bump and they'll start to go back down. But that may be discussions we have through the design process too as we review costs. And it may come down to either choosing to, maybe delaying bids a little longer and seeing if prices will change if they're going down, or it might be where portions of the project are cut to stay within budget. And so just to prepare council, that's the worst case situation right now is time and money is just not going in the right direction.
Are we looking at a bid timeline of about first of the year?
Ideally, we would be bidding, I would say, in February, we'd open the bids in February or late March. And by that, we'd get plans all done and have time for the DNR to review, or I should say, as of today, they're the Department of Agriculture and Natural Resources. So it's the DANR. It might take me a couple mistakes to get that right. But they need time to review that. Ideally, that'll be in that end of November, December timeframe. And then January, we can send the documents out for bidding. And usually for a project of this size, you're going to want those bidding documents out 3 to 4 weeks to give contractors enough time to really look at them and get good bid numbers. So that'll push opening of the bids into February, March. And I've got a timeline. It should be within the scope. And I think I've actually got opening bids in March, just to give us a little bit more time for design. And the idea there too is that, on this particular project, you may open bids in March. They may not do a whole lot the first 4 months if we're waiting for equipment. So that's why if you look at the completion date right now is not until July of 2023. And it's to give them that full time to get the equipment in and get some of the repairs done. Because it's gonna take that long, and if we see those 26-week lead times, this might change to like an October 31st, 2023 time completion date.
So with that in mind, we won't start doing any of the infrastructure of the streets until after that.
That is the city council's decision. It wouldn't be dictated by this.
Okay.
This is one project, and it received funding through the state. A really nice funding package, by the way. I was very excited for you guys. And so it's a separate project that's in motion by itself right now. So if the city decides that you want to start on that street project a year from now, and you want to start design next spring on that, you could still start design on that and issue, a bid and get that project moving along if you want. That's the city council's decision.
Thank you.
Mhm. Could I offer one additional comment on that, just to kind of get you thinking on timeline? If that's all right. If you want to do that, when to think about it would be, I would say late this summer, early fall, because you'd want to get on the state water plan for those improvements on October 1st, and then apply for funding January 1st of 2022, because that's when you would have your best chance to receive grant funding or principal forgiveness. So you'd want to be thinking about that and be ready to make a decision, around probably the end of August, early September to get the application in order.
Basically the same thing we did for this phase.
Exactly.
Would you recommend that we reapply for the community block grant at that time? 'Cause
Did
we
you
were-
get community development for this, or was it all principal forgiveness? That's what I'm trying to remember right now.
We were asking for something from the community block grant, but they told us to reapply when we were closer to digging.
Oh, that's right. So you could reapply for this project. I was just talking to Leslie about this for another job, and I'm trying to think of when the deadline is. That might be October 1st too. It's right around this fall.
Yep, they do
To
it
apply.
quarterly.
Yep. And I think they usually like it to be applied for within 6 months of bidding.
Okay,
So I think it would be this fall.
okay.
So I'm going to note that just to kind of throw it on the calendar.
Yes?
Tanya, are you the, I think I emailed you earlier today asking for a section,
You
same
did.
person, okay. Are you the primary point of contact for this document?
Yeah. No, I did not sign it. We always have either our president or our vice president sign these contracts.
Okay,
But I would be the project manager. I'm the one you'll see at every progress meeting during design and likely throughout construction as well.
gotcha, okay. Thanks.
Are we to the point where you need to address us?
If that would be all right.
All right, I move to enter into executive session pursuant to SDCL 125-2, sub 3, legal counsel.
I'll second that.
I can't hear Melissa.
I just said that I moved to go into executive session,
And Linda seconded.
and now you're moving, so.
Okay, we have a motion to enter into executive session for legal counsel, 1-25-2-3. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Linda, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Marcus?
Aye.
Darla?
Aye.
And Melissa?
Aye.
5 vote yes, and it is 6:34 PM. Come on.
Time on this, talk about this a little bit.
It's frustrating. All right. We will say we are out of executive session at 7:02 PM. And the discussion part is over. We need a motion.
I motion to authorize the mayor and city attorney to negotiate Alcester wastewater treatment agreement and engineering services.
I'll second that.
I couldn't hear any of the motion.
Okay. The motion was that Melissa authorized the mayor and the legal representative for the city of Alcester to negotiate the Alcester wastewater treatment agreement for engineering services. That was seconded by Linda. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none. Linda, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Marcus?
Aye.
Darla?
Aye.
And Melissa?
Aye.
5 vote yes. So, we are going to move on to letter C, the approval of resolution number 2021-08. For all practical purposes, a resolution to say that this project is going forward from here. Does anybody have any discussion according to, or RE, the resolution at hand? If not, I would need a motion to approve that resolution.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2021-08.
I'll second it.
Need to read the title?
Yes?
Yes.
Resolution giving approval to certain sewer facility improvements, giving approval to the issuance and sale of a revenue bond to finance directly or indirectly the improvements to the facilities, approving the form of the loan agreement and the revenue bond and pledging project revenues and collateral to secure the payment of the revenue bond, and creating special funds and accounts for the administration of funds for operation of the system and retirement of the revenue bond, and providing for a segregated special charge or surcharge for the payment of the bonds.
And just to be absolutely certain, Darla, do you still
I
second that
second it.
as read?
Yep.
Motion was made and seconded. Made by Dave and seconded by Darla. You heard the red resolution name. I'm not going to repeat it. Is there any discussion? If not, Linda, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Marcus?
Aye.
Darla?
Aye.
And Melissa?
Aye.
I vote aye. Resolution 2021-08 passes. Good timing.
Yes.
Letter 6B. Regarding the motion to settle the claims.
I'm assuming you're gonna wanna go back into executive
Yes,
session.
that's what I would want to do, and then
Okay,
we'll,
so
about that.
that would be contractual matters.
Legal, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to enter into executive session for SDCL 1-25-2-3 legal.
I'll second it.
Motion has been made by Dave and seconded by Melissa to go into executive session for South Dakota Codified Law 125-2-3 legal. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Linda, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Marcus?
Aye.
Darla?
Aye.
And Melissa?
Aye.
All right, 5 vote of yes, and we're in executive session at 7:08 PM. It's like it just loses it. All right, we are out of executive session at 7:17 PM. And we would need a motion.
I'll make a motion to authorize the city of Alcester to settle the claims of Terry and Jessica Christensen under any terms and conditions recommended by outside counsel.
I'll second that.
Motion was made by Darla and seconded by Linda to authorize the city of Alcester to settle the claims of Terry and Jessica Christensen under any terms and conditions recommended by outside counsel. Is there any discussion at this time? Hearing none. Linda, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Dave?
Aye.
And Marcus?
Aye.
Darla?
Aye.
And Melissa?
Aye.
5 yes. Motion carries, and you'll be in contact with council. Okay. There's, number 6 is done. Number 7 is another executive session if needed.
I make a motion to enter into executive session pursuant to SDCL 125-2, sub 1 personnel.
1 personnel.
I'll second that.
Motion was made by Melissa and seconded by Linda to enter into executive session pursuant to SDCL 1-25-2-1 personnel. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Linda, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Marcus?
Aye.
Darla?
Aye.
And Melissa?
Aye.
And we're in executive session now at 7:19 p.m. All right, we're out of executive session at 8:09 p.m. And we're going to move on to number 8. Meyer.
The library summer reading program is starting to get organized. We'll have a library board meeting Thursday night to discuss some more things about that. But in the past, when we have had summer reading programs, not in 2020, but before that, we hired an aide or a student to help out. And I would like to make a motion to hire Peyton Meyer for the summer reading program assistant at $9.60 an hour.
I'll second it.
Dave made the motion and Darla seconded the motion to hire Peyton Myers for the summer reading program and that's a part-time thing?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Part-time thing at $9.60 an hour coming from the general fund. Is there any other discussion regarding this? Hearing none. Linda, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Marcus?
Aye.
Darla?
Aye.
And Melissa?
Aye.
I vote aye. Thank you. Move on to the Murphy Tractor and Equipment Wheel Loader Repair. Kind of a big bill there.
So the types of things that went wrong with it went in there because we had a leak on the boom lift. And once they got it there, they put in some new hydraulic hoses and O-rings. And then they did some work on also a U-joint was bad, so they replaced the U-joint, and then while they were in there, they put in new oils, so the actual oil. And then the fuel pump was rebuilt, and they put that back in. And then Lonnie had them do a full service on it while it was there. And then we had some alarms that were going off. And so they figured out the source of the alarm, which was some bad connectors. And so they replaced those, replaced the horn, and replaced our flasher lights. And we had a shifting issue. And so that was resolved. And then there was a steering problem, and they fixed that as well.
So if we'd have that baby painted, it should be new.
And evidently the bill comes to $12,629.37.
That is correct.
How is that bill going to be appropriated or sliced up among the different divisions?
Well, normally, when the unit was purchased, we did split it out between the sewer, the water, solid waste, and street. So when we bought the unit, 4 different departments bought it. At this point, I was just gonna put the repair in streets, but I mean, if you want it separated out or allocated based with 4 departments, that's fine too.
Well, it's still used out the landfill occasionally, right?
Yes.
Once in a while, it's up at the cemetery.
I probably wouldn't put this in the cemetery.
Once
It's
in a while,
water, sewer, solid waste, street.
They push up some stuff for us once in a while out at the golf course.
It's never been involved.
Okay. Well, just wondering.
So those 3, sewer, solid waste, and streets. Oh,
Water, sewer,
oh, sorry, water, sewer,
solid waste.
solid waste, streets.
That's how it was allocated when it was originally
So you
purchased.
can do it equally, or is street gonna get more share?
I guess that's up to you, if you would like it separated out differently.
How did you do it before? Was it equal shares?
Yes. The wheel loader got when we purchased the unit, the wheel loader itself was divided by 4, and the loader went to street.
Well, whatever the operators think is fair. If they, if they think what's been done in the past is fair, that's fine.
I
So-
will divide it by the 4 departments.
So I would need a motion to approve that payment.
I'll make a motion to approve the payment of the repair with power plan for $12,629.37. Divided between the 4 divisions.
I'll second.
Motion's been made by Linda and seconded by Darla to approve the payment of the repair of the wheel loader with power plan for $12,629.37 coming out of the general fund, divided up among the 4 departments that were mentioned. Is there any discussion at this time?
Can we repeat the 4 again?
Water, sewer, solid waste, street.
Thank you.
Is there any other discussion at this time?
Could you repeat those one more time, so I can go through the phone?
Yeah, water, sewer, solid waste, and streets.
Okay, that's what I thought I heard, but I just wanted to make sure.
Yep. Is there any other discussion at this time? Hearing none. Linda, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Marcus?
Aye.
Darla?
Aye.
And Melissa?
Aye.
5 vote aye. Thank you. Now move on to the health insurance for city employees discussion.
So, every so many years, we do a full evaluation of our health insurance plan. And this also came up to being because one of the employees had an experience and they did not, where they needed to use their medical, and they didn't feel it was a favorable experience. So they asked me to go ahead and get them re-quoted. And so up until this time, we have been with Sanford, and almost all of the employees were on the Sanford Simplicity 5,000 plan, and I was on the 6,000 plan. And the only reason for that is I've been self-insured for a lot of years, and I've been fortunate to be healthy, so I understand the premiums, so it's like I'm okay with doing the 6,000 plan. One of the major concerns is the flexibility so that you don't only have to go to Sanford to get your care. And so I went with Wellmark. And they quoted probably about 8 different plans for the city. And I met with the employees and we reviewed and came up with this HSA plan. It is my blue high deductible health plan. It's an HSA. By Wellmark, it will allow us to give the employees flexibility. They can go to Sanford, they can go to Avera, they can go to the Hayward Hospital. All of those are in network. There's probably more, but those would be the big ones that people would typically go to. Currently, like I said, the plan that we're on, the Simplicity 5000 is now changed to a Simplicity 5250 if we would stick with Sanford. So that means in-network deductible is $5,250, max out of pocket then with in-network was $8,400 for single. And then for me it would be, let's see, the 6,000 was 6,000 and 8,400 for max out of pocket. So I have in the light green or yellow, if you want to call it, would be what our 2021 rates would be.
If we stayed with the current.
If we stayed with Sanford.
Right.
My recommendation, and this is being in favor of by the employees as well, is to go to the Wellmark plan with an HSA feature, and you can see what that does to the individual premiums. And again, the only, all of them would be experiencing a decrease. And with this HSA plan, the deductible is $6,900, or a family is $13,800. So it's a little bit higher deductible, but there's no co-insurance. And that was one of the downsides of the Sanford plan as it's been modified, is the co-insurance went, originally it was at 30%, then it went up to 40%, and this year it would have been at 50%. So the recommendation that I have for you is we switch to the Wellmark, and we offer the employees a match, putting $50 into their HSA. And then the employee would put $50 into their HSA. And the benefit that this would have for the employees is where actually the city would be providing an additional benefit because they can use the HSA money for the items we don't provide insurance for, which would be dental or eye care. And the employee can put it up to $3,600 a year for individual. So if they wanted a place, and this is all, it can be up to pre-tax, it is pre-tax dollars.
Right.
And the money goes with the employee either at the time of retirement or if they leave the city. So in looking at it, and the HSA contribution is definitely a negotiable item. My recommendation was $50, but if you see differently, that's your call. But we're looking at an overall rate increase of $141.74, and that's including the premium and a $50 contribution to the HSA.
The $50 contribution from the city is only if the employee matches that $50?
That would be my recommendation, is that the city will match up to $50. If the employee wants to put more in, that's their choice.
Right, but if the employee puts in 40, we'll put in 40.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Yep. So the first year with an HSA is the most critical because there's no money in your account. So if you have a major medical, I mean, that's where you're gonna feel it the worst. But then after that, then there's that money there. So in a sense, you are self-assuring, or insuring, sorry.
2 years ago, Custom Coils did virtually the same thing. Some of us got on the HSA a couple of years ago, and I'm on it, and I had been right from the start. As soon as they said HSA, I said, where do I sign? And I put money into it, and now I'm at a point where, I mean, I'm, like she said, pretty much self-insured. Now granted, you gotta be lucky enough that you don't have a whole bunch of medical stuff happen. And nice part about it is it does go with me. If I decided to go to work somewhere else, I could keep that HSA, so.
So Pat, if I understand this, you said $143 per month additional cost,
Right,
and it's a $6,900 deductible
that is correct,
and $13,000 max?
correct.
What would have been the increase, or would it, yeah, it would have been an increase if we'd have stayed with the Sanford Health Insurance?
It would have went from 2801 to 2944, so also would have been about $143.
About exactly the same amount.
So actually, yeah,
I mean, it's so close to the same. I didn't write it down.
So I'm curious, if you had to be taken by the ambulance right now, would they pay for you to go to Hayward on the Sanford?
On the Stanford plan, it'd be out of network.
So the answer to that is no.
No, wouldn't.
However, if you're on the well-marked
It
bill.
would, yeah.
it wasn't as much of an increase as I thought it might be.
That's next year. Yeah, probably next
Yeah,
year.
it could happen next year, that's
Yeah.
for sure. Well, is there any other discussion at this time? I don't know if you want to make a motion to approve anything, but if so, we'll need a motion to go forward.
When does this take effect? July?
No, I would like to have the motion tonight, because it does take a month to do the paperwork. So we would be looking at, we will have 1 month of Sanford insurance, and then in June 1st, it would be effective.
If I may speak, I worked with Wellmark when I was on the ambulance. I did the billing, or we had a billing company do it, but I handled the forms and stuff. Wellmark didn't always play well, and there was another entity involved, and it was called Noridian out of North Dakota. Be very careful. If I were you, I would do some research on that. The other
We
thing.
have well-marked and it's fantastic insurance.
Yeah, but I'm talking from the ambulance point, that coding, we had coding problems and stuff like that, and it was on Wellmark's part. So I'm just offering that up. I worked a lot of years with that, and Noridian is notorious, so just offering that up for your information.
Does anybody have any other discussion that they'd like to have at this time, or what do we do?
I have well marked my work too.
Yeah.
With the HSA.
You do have an HSA?
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
them,
Yeah.
kind of the same.
You can even use the HSA card for buying aspirin.
Yeah, you
I
can.
mean, anything that has to do with health.
Yeah. And I did.
My
I
CPAP.
did the dental stuff. I paid for all my dental pretty much with my HSA, because I don't have dental insurance.
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion to change health insurance programs to the Wellmark My Blue high deductible health plan, bronze level, with an HSA contribution up to $50
Matched?
matched.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion was made by Dave and seconded by Linda for it's the item in blue on the health and life insurance document, Wellmark My Blue HDHP Bronze Plan for 2021, starting, I believe it will be in June, because it will take a month. There's a $50 matching portion to the motion that has to do with the health savings account. So, is there any discussion? Hearing none. Linda, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Marcus?
Aye.
Darla?
Aye.
And Melissa?
Aye.
5 yes, thank you. Department head updates.
Just a couple of things. Mr. Mayor, how do you want to handle your garbage tonight? In case your street is not open, I told Lauren I would text him.
We just won't have any, we won't.
Well, I'll give you the alternative. Lauren is, the townhouse apartments is gonna move theirs down to the green one by the water tower. So if you would be approved to doing that, Lauren will pick all those up down there.
Okay, well, if he sees it there, he can pick it up. If he doesn't, he won't.
Okay?
Sometimes he doesn't see it at our house, so.
Okay. Well, that's his son. That's still Lauren. Just a reminder, the sirens will be going off on Wednesday if you're in town. So they'll be going off at 10 o'clock, 10:15, and 10:30. And I'm asking if there's an alderman that would be interested in going to a meeting with me with the industrial board to discuss how we're going to handle this office with respect to rent, utilities, so on and so forth. So
When is the meeting?
whenever we can set it up. I think Jamie would be open to any time.
I could help out.
Okay. And then, Ms. Mayor, you wanted to set up a time for a subcommittee for ordinance change.
Right, we do need to have some discussion and start working on these ordinances and the policies, et cetera, and try to gain some ground there too. If nothing else, a little bit better education citywide. So I guess what I'm gonna ask for is volunteers. We're not talking about hours and hours and hours of time. A lot of it's gonna be homework, if that's what you wanna call it, and then just get together, or even just talk on the phone for a little while and talk about what you found. And so I would like to have a couple of volunteers, and I would be happy to be involved too. But
Are we gonna focus on one particular ordinance at a time?
I think we will. I think we'll, and I think that obviously that parking ordinance to me is something that should be discussed, and it should be,
Street parking you talking about?
yep, made straight, and we'll go from there. I mean, maybe when somebody looks at that and they see how we've changed it and changed it for the better, then you're looking at ordinance number 4 and you say, wow, this could use some of that same help, or whatever.
Now, I guess I would think the second thing we focus on should be the thing that Mr. Downs brought up about.
Nuisance vehicles, nuisance properties. Yep, I'm all right with that. But anyway, I guess right now I'm going to say we will leave it up to some discussion. I'll be talking to the alderman over the next 2 weeks, and we'll see if we can't solidify some of that.
All right.
Okay, that takes care of 11. Number 12, reminders and updates. Ooh, audit time. Now, that April 22nd, 23rd, that's when they're gonna do it?
They will be here, yep. They've already started. I've given them all their information that they've pre-asked for, and so they'll just do the examination of records once they're here.
And they do have all the information from HRC because of the,
I might need to email you on the statements. I don't think I have all of them.
okay, well, yeah, and I can just get them. I mean, I can just print them all for the year.
They like to see the original.
Oh, okay. Well, that'll be fun. Okay. Park cleanup. The Cubs, are gonna, and the Alcester Baptist Church are gonna clean up the park. Actually, is that two separate? Oh, it's two separate days. April 30th for the high school, and Baptist Church is gonna do it on May 2nd. Nice.
Just so you know, the hole in the top level of the open shelter miraculously healed up.
Nice. That's good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Did you use something that they couldn't break? No. Sorry.
Well, no.
If they got a crowbar, they probably could, yeah.
It's screwed on. If they want to bring their screwdriver,
Yeah.
they will come on, but it's going to take a little effort.
Well, the only thing that's left, folks, is item 13.
I move to adjourn.
I second it.
Motion made by Melissa and seconded by Darla to adjourn. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Melissa, no, how about Linda? How do you vote?
Aye.
Dave?
Hi.
Marcus?
Aye.
Darla?
Aye.
And Melissa?
Aye.
Melissa, thank you for your years of service. It's been very good for the city.
3. January of 18.
Yeah, full, you were appointed initially and then,
Yeah, I was appointed January of 18, and then I took out a petition in February of 18.
Are you
Oh,
coming to May?
I mean, yeah, I'll be here, but
Okay.
it's not the full meeting, right?
No.
Just
Old
right,
business.
for the beginning.
formality,
Yeah.
but you are welcome, and it was an honor and a privilege.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate your input on things.
Time of adjournment?
I don't think he said.
I don't think.
Oh, I did. I'll say 8:35 PM.